Welcome, dear listener. Tonight, we journey together into one of the most delicate and mysterious questions of science and philosophy. Is the universe already ending? Out there, beyond the quiet of our own night sky, the cosmos is unfolding in ways both beautiful and unsettling. Stars are born and burn out, galaxies drift apart, and time itself stretches toward fates we are only beginning to imagine. Some scientists whisper of heat death, others of collapse, and some of a slow unraveling already underway. Could it be that the universe's ending has already begun? As we explore this question, we won't rush. Instead, we'll move gently, like starlight crossing space, slow, calm, and unhurried. Let this be not just a lesson in physics, but also an invitation to breathe, to wonder, and to find stillness in the mystery of it all. If you enjoy these quiet journeys where science meets rest and curiosity meets calm, I invite you to support this growing community. Please take a moment to like this video, share it with a friend who might also enjoy drifting into cosmic wonder, and leave your reflections in the comments below. I love reading how these stories touch your nights, and if you haven't yet, I warmly invite you to subscribe, so you'll always have a soft place to return to where the vastness of the universe becomes a gentle companion at the edge of sleep. So, settle in, let your breath slow, and together, let us begin with the quiet question of whether the universe, in some hidden way, is already saying its long goodbye. You rest beneath the night sky, where every star seems timeless. Yet, hidden in the silence is a question. Is everything already slipping away? This chapter gently opens the mystery of cosmic endings, easing you into the vastness of what lies ahead. You lie back, and the sky stretches above you. The night is calm, vast, and still. The air around you carries a cool hush, as if the world itself has quieted for your rest. Above, the stars burn silently, scattered like grains of glowing salt across an endless tablecloth of darkness. They seem so permanent, so eternal, as though they have always been here and always will be. And yet, beneath their still light, a quiet question flickers. A question you have carried with you, sometimes without knowing it. Is this universe, this vastness, above, already slipping away? The thought comes slowly, like a tide rolling toward you in the dark. You may have never considered it deeply before. Perhaps the universe felt too large to worry about, too infinite to measure against the fragile span of a single human life. But now, resting in the night, your breath steady, you begin to wonder. Each star you see is already telling you a story about time. Their light has traveled years, centuries, even millions of years before reaching your eyes. You are not seeing them as they are, but as they once were. In a sense, you are always looking at the past. Perhaps some of the stars you gaze upon are already gone, their fires extinguished, their forms collapsed. Yet here their light still arrives, whispering across time, as though nothing has changed. This realization is the first thread of the question. If stars, seemingly eternal, can die, what about the universe itself? Your body softens as you imagine the possibility. The universe is not a fixed place, but a story in motion, unfolding like a book being read page by page. And just as every story has a beginning, so too must it one day find an ending. You let your thoughts drift back, far back, before you, before the earth, before stars. Scientists tell us that nearly 14 billion years ago, everything you see above you was once compressed into something impossibly small, impossibly dense. From that point, it expanded, not into empty space, but creating space itself. The galaxies that now scatter the night like distant lanterns were carried outward in this grand unfurling. The universe, then, is not a stage where events happen. It is the play itself, unfolding scene by scene, and if it began, could it not also end? This is the gentle mystery you are stepping into tonight. Not in fear, but in wonder. The question is not a door to dread, but a pathway to awe, leading you to consider what it means to live in a universe that is alive with change, with beginnings and endings. You close your eyes for a moment and listen to your own breath. Inhale, exhale, a rhythm as ancient as the stars. Your body, too, is part of this story. Every atom in you was born in some distant furnace, some star that lived and died long before the earth was formed. The calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the oxygen you breathe, all were forged in the heart of stars. Scattered when those stars collapsed, gathered again in clouds of dust, and finally woven into you. You are the echo of 1,000 endings, carried into the present moment. And so, when you ask if the universe is already ending, you are not asking about something far away. You are asking about something you are already part of, a current you are already moving with, slowly and gently dot above you. The stars burn steadily, yet their lives are measured. Some will last billions of years, others only millions. In human terms, they seem unchanging. But in the cosmic measure, they are brief. The universe itself may be no different. It may already be set upon its path, a path we are only just beginning to understand. You picture the universe as a great ocean, endless and deep. Galaxies are like boats drifting slowly apart, carried by currents you cannot see. The current is expansion, and expansion is not slowing. It is quickening, as though something hidden is pushing the universe outward faster and faster. Scientists call it dark energy, a force we cannot see, yet one we know is there, pulling space apart. You imagine it like a breath that never exhales, only inhales, wider and wider, scattering the stars farther into silence. If that is true, then perhaps the end is not a sudden crash or collapse, but a slow dissolving, a fading into emptiness, where stars grow dim, galaxies vanish from sight, and finally, nothing stirs. The question beneath the stars grows deeper. If the universe is expanding away, is it already dying? Or is it simply transforming, just as stars do, just as you do? Your mind drifts softly between these thoughts, like a small boat rocking gently in the tide. And then you notice the question itself is both unsettling and comforting. It unsettles because it suggests impermanence, but it comforts because it reminds you that endings are not sudden erasures. They are long, gentle transitions, often stretching beyond imagination. You are alive in the middle of that transition. You are here in the luminous briefness of a universe still filled with stars, still glowing with warmth. Imagine for a moment that the night sky above you is a vast clock. Each star is a tick, each galaxy a hand slowly sweeping across the dial. You cannot hear it, but you can feel it, the universe marking time. The question of endings is in truth a question of time itself, and time is not the enemy. It is the quiet river carrying all things forward. You begin to see how the mystery of the universe's end is not separate from your own life. Just as the cosmos had a beginning, so did you. Just as the cosmos will someday end, so too will you. And yet, here you are, in the luminous middle, breathing, existing, wondering. This awareness is tender, almost fragile. You hold it carefully, as though it were a candle flame in the night. Perhaps the real lesson hidden in the stars is not when or how the universe will end, but how to live within it now. To recognize that impermanence is not a flaw, but the very fabric of beauty. A star is beautiful, not despite its mortality, but because of it. You are beautiful not because you last forever, but because you do not. The night deepens. The stars above seem to shimmer more faintly, as though reminding you of the delicate nature of their light. Still, the question remains, quietly waiting. If everything ends, what shape will that ending take? There are many possibilities, each one a story scientists tell with both evidence and imagination. The universe might fade into a cold, thin silence, what they call heat death, or it may one day fall back into itself, collapsing into another, beginning a big crunch. Or perhaps the expansion will grow so fast that it tears even atoms apart, a big rip. Each possibility is both profound and mysterious. Each one reshapes the way you imagine existence. Tonight, you need not choose an answer. You need only hold the question like a smooth stone in your hand, feeling its weight, its coolness, its quiet presence. You breathe slowly, evenly. You let the stars linger in your sight. The universe does not rush toward its ending, and neither should you. Its pace is so slow that even imagining it is like trying to hear the sound of grass growing. All you can sense is the stillness, the patience, the deep time unfolding around you. And so, as you rest here, you allow the question to remain open. You let it rest beside you, like a companion, like a guide. Is the universe already ending? You do not know. Perhaps it is, perhaps it is not. But what you do know is that you are part of its story, held within its vast unfolding. And tonight, beneath the stars, that is enough. Your eyes grow heavy. The question softens. It becomes less of a problem to solve and more of a doorway to wonder. And as you step through it, you begin to sense what lies ahead. Not just the mystery of endings, but the mystery of time itself, flowing like a silent river through every corner of the cosmos. You trace the arrow of time, always moving forward, never backward. Time feels steady to you, but in the universe, time stretches and bends. You learn how entropy whispers the story of inevitable endings, softly guiding your thoughts toward cosmic stillness. Time is both the keeper of memory and the painter of impermanence. You close your eyes for a moment, and still you feel it, the gentle movement of time. It is not something you can touch, not something you can hold, yet it carries you forward as surely as a river carries a leaf. You breathe in, you breathe out, and each breath slips into the past. Already it is gone. Already it has become a memory. Time has always felt like this to you, steady, constant, one second after another, ticking forward in a quiet rhythm. And yet, in the vast language of the cosmos, time is not as simple as it seems. It stretches, it curves, it bends around the weight of matter, and still it flows in one direction, like an arrow that never turns back. This arrow of time is what you follow, whether you notice it or not. You rise in the morning, you age, you change. A cup falls to the floor and shatters, but never does the glass leap back together. Ashes do not turn back into firewood. A river does not climb back uphill. The direction of time is marked by this deep truth. Disorder grows, patterns unravel, and energy spreads. Scientists call this unfolding entropy, the measure of disorder, of how things drift from order into chaos. Yet chaos is not frightening here. It is gentle, patient, woven into everything you see. Imagine an ice cube placed in a glass of water. Slowly it melts, its sharp edges softening, its structure dissolving into liquid. It will not, on its own, gather itself back into a perfect cube. This is the arrow of time made visible in something so simple, so everyday, that you might never pause to notice. Entropy is not just about melting ice or broken cups. It is about the universe itself. Every star that burns is slowly spreading energy outward. Every collision, every transformation, every moment of warmth and light is the story of energy dispersing, of order shifting into something looser, wider, and more even. This is why time feels like it flows forward. It is not just the ticking of a clock. It is the movement from ordered states into less ordered ones, from patterns into diffusion. The universe is slowly unwinding, like a thread pulled from a spool, and you, too, are carried with it. And yet, Time is more than physics. It is also memory, perception, the way your mind gathers moments and strings them together like beads on a necklace. You cannot step outside of time to see it whole. You can only feel its passing in your own body. Your heartbeat, your breath, the rhythm of your thoughts, all are woven into the fabric of time's current. You may sometimes wish to go backward, to relive a moment, to pause or to return. But time does not allow this. The arrow moves on, quietly, endlessly. The gift is not in going back, but in the fact that you are here now, aware, present in the stream dot. As you lie beneath the stars, you might begin to wonder, does the universe itself feel time as you do? For in the cosmos, time is not absolute. Near a black hole, time slows almost to stillness. A traveler falling toward its event horizon would appear, to an outside observer, to move slower and slower, never quite reaching the edge. Time there is stretched, warped by the immense gravity dot. In this way, time is elastic. It bends with space, with gravity, with the very structure of the universe. But no matter how it bends, its arrow never points backward. Entropy ensures that, whether slowly or quickly, the direction is always the same. Entropy is like a whisper carried through all things. This will change. This will spread. This will soften into stillness. It is why the universe cannot remain as it is forever. It is why stars will one day burn out, why galaxies will thin, why heat will scatter across the cosmos until little remains to shift, to move, to glow. But entropy is not a thief. It is an artist, painting impermanence across the canvas of existence. Without it, there would be no aging, no growth, no story. The arrow of time is what gives you a past, a present, and a future. It is what makes a flower bloom and then fade. It is what lets you remember a childhood laugh or dream of a tomorrow not yet lived. You breathe again, and you feel how precious each breath is. Each one is a marker, a small step along the arrow's path. Each one is both fleeting and eternal, because it is carried forward in memory. In the ripple it leaves behind God, imagine again the universe as a great river. Entropy is its current state. Time is the motion of the water, flowing always forward. You cannot stop it, but you can drift within it, float upon it, even find peace in knowing it carries you where you are meant to go. There is a quiet beauty in recognizing this flow. When you release your grip on the need to hold everything still, you find rest in the movement itself. You see that impermanence is not something to resist, but something to cradle, gently, like a truth you have always known. Entropy tells us that endings are certain, but it also tells us that endings are gradual, stretched across unfathomable spans of time. The stars above you still burn. The earth beneath you still turns. The night around you is still filled with light. The unraveling of the cosmos is not a collapse, but a long, long exhale, so slow you can barely imagine its passing. And so, tonight, entropy is not a threat. It is a lullaby, a reminder that change is natural, that even as things scatter, there is still harmony in the way they unfold. Think of your own life. You have seen change. You have felt time move through you. Childhood turned to memory. Faces once familiar became distant recollections. Even your body shifts, cell by cell, moment by moment. Yet in all of this, there has been beauty, growth, love, laughter, discovery. None of these could exist without the arrow of time guiding them forward. The same is true for the universe. Its beauty lies not in permanence, but in transformation. The stars are beautiful not because they burn forever, but because they burn at all. Galaxies are wondrous not because they remain unchanged, but because they spiral, collide, disperse, and begin again. Entropy's whisper guides all things toward stillness. Yes, but in that journey, it creates the music of existence. You rest now in that awareness, calm, serene. The arrow of time does not rush. It moves at the pace of the universe itself. You are not behind. You are not ahead. You are exactly where you belong, on this point of the arrow, carried gently forward. And as you sink deeper into thought, you begin to feel the weight of the next question. If entropy is the arrow, and time always moves forward, then where is it carrying us? What is the destination of this cosmic river? You imagine galaxies like lanterns set adrift, carried farther and farther apart, their light slowly dimming as they recede into the distance. The arrow points not back to the warmth of beginnings, but outward, into some far-off stillness. The stars above you shimmer, and you sense that this river of time, this arrow you follow, is not only about the past and present. It is also about the universe's future, about the shape of endings that may already be unfolding. You are left with this quiet reflection. Time is both gift and guide, both river and current. It carries you towards something, though you cannot yet see what that something is. And so you breathe once more, slowly, gently, letting the thought linger. The arrow of time does not stop. It continues. And as it flows, it leads you deeper into the question of what the universe becomes as it expands, as it stretches like a great breath inhaled without end. Like lungs inhaling, the universe expands with every moment. Galaxies drift apart as if on a slow-moving tide. You follow this cosmic breath, understanding how expansion shapes the fate of everything, from your body to the stars. Every moment stretches the fabric of existence a little wider, a little farther, into mystery. You lie beneath the stars, and you begin to notice a rhythm that is larger than your breath, larger than the slow pulse of your heart. The universe itself is breathing, not in the way lungs rise and fall, not with air, but with space itself, stretching, swelling, unfolding. The cosmos is inhaling. It is a strange idea, almost ungraspable. For when you look upward, the sky seems fixed. The constellations hold their patterns. The galaxies hang in place like lanterns suspended in the dark. Yet beyond what your eyes can sense, everything is moving apart. Space itself is growing. Imagine the universe as a great fabric, invisible, but real, woven from the threads of space and time. Upon this fabric, galaxies are like tiny dots of paint. As the fabric stretches, the dots do not move across it. The fabric itself expands, and with it, the dots drift away from one another. This is the expansion of the universe. It began in the first instant after the Big Bang, and it continues. Now, silently, steadily, without pause. Every second, space becomes wider, larger, more vast than it was a moment before. You here on Earth are part of this movement. Though you cannot feel it. It is not like wind pressing against your skin or waves rocking you on a boat. It is quieter than that, subtler than that. It is the very frame of existence itself changing. Shape. Galaxies separated by millions of light years are carried farther apart, as though placed on a tide that flows forever outward. The discovery of this expansion is one of the great turning points of human understanding. A little more than a century ago, astronomers noticed that the light from distant galaxies appeared stretched, shifted toward the red end of the spectrum. Like the fading sound of a receding train whistle, the light revealed that galaxies were moving away. The farther they were, the faster they receded. The universe was not static, as once believed. It was growing, and so you begin to picture the cosmos not as a fixed container, but as something alive with motion, a vast, long inhaling without end. Pause for a moment and imagine this expansion on the scale of your body. If the very space between atoms were expanding here, in this room, your body would swell. The distance between molecules would grow. But expansion does not occur at this intimate scale. Gravity and forces of matter hold things together. Your body, the Earth, the solar system. Expansion reveals itself only across the grandest distances. Where galaxies drift apart and clusters thin dot, it is like a great dance that you cannot see. In the steps nearby, but only in the pattern of the entire ballroom. The expansion is not slow when measured across the immensity of space. Every second, galaxies millions of light years away slip farther from one another, so fast that no ship, no signal, no speed could ever close the gap. The light they send to you now may be the last light you will ever see from them, for eventually they will drift beyond the horizon of what can reach you. And so, even as you gaze at the stars tonight, the universe is quietly changing, stretching, expanding into more of itself. But why does it expand? The answer is hidden in the very beginning. From the first moment of the Big Bang, the universe was born. In motion, like sparks from a fire, galaxies were cast outward, carried on the momentum of creation itself. That initial push never stopped. It continues now, billions of years later, with a surprising twist. The expansion is not slowing, but speeding up. This discovery came at the end of the 20th century, when scientists noticed something astonishing. In the light of distant supernova, instead of slowing down, as gravity would seem to demand, the universe's expansion was accelerating. It was as though some invisible hand were pushing galaxies apart faster and faster, an unseen energy filling. The cosmos thought they named it dark energy, though the name reveals more mystery than clarity. Dark energy is not directly observed. It is inferred, like wind traced by the bending of trees. It is everywhere, woven into the very fabric of space, and its effect is unmistakable. It pushes the universe outward, faster and faster. You can think of it as the breath of the universe becoming stronger with time, the inhale deepening, stretching the cosmic fabric wider and wider dot, and so you rest with the realization. The universe is not static, not fixed, not permanent in its current shape. It is alive with expansion, restless with growth. What feels eternal in the night sky is, in truth, always changing. This expansion shapes not only the present, but the future. For as space grows, galaxies will drift beyond one another's reach. Light from their stars will no longer find its way across the widening void. The night sky will slowly empty, constellations dissolving, galaxies fading from view. Far in the future, beings who look up at the sky may see only the stars of their own galaxy, unaware of the greater cosmos that once was visible. The thought is both lonely and profound. Expansion is not something you can stop. It is the destiny of space itself, written in the unfolding of physics, carried by the mysterious presence of dark energy dot. And yet, this expansion also gives rise to beauty. It is what allows galaxies to form, to drift apart, and evolve in isolation. It is what gives structure to the cosmos, sculpting the large-scale web of filaments and clusters. It is what ensures that the universe is not static and silent, but dynamic, flowing, full of change. You take a breath now, slowly, gently, and you realize how natural expansion feels. Your lungs expand with air, your chest rises, and you understand the metaphor more deeply. Just as your body inhales and exhales, the universe, too, expands. But here is the difference. Your breath releases, returns, cycles. The universe does not seem to exhale. It only inhales, endlessly, without reversal. Its expansion does not pause. And if current knowledge holds true, it will never return to what it once was. This truth leads you gently into questions that linger at the edge of wonder. If the universe expands forever, what becomes of it? Does it thin into emptiness? A cosmic silence spread so wide that nothing remains connected? Does expansion carry us toward the heat death, where all stars burn out, where galaxies are lost? To the horizon, where only a thin whisper of energy remains? Or could expansion hide something more, something we do not yet see? Could it one day shift, slow, reverse, collapsing inward again in a great cosmic exhale? The possibilities remain open, suspended like stars in the dark, waiting for you too. Wonder. For now, you rest in the knowledge that the universe is growing. That space itself is stretching around you, that every moment carries the galaxies farther apart. It is a quiet, patient process, so vast that it cannot be felt in daily life, but so certain that it defines the fate of everything. And as you lie beneath the night sky, you realize something tender. You too expand, not in size, but in experience. Your life stretches with time, your thoughts widen, your heart grows to hold more than it once did. Expansion is not only cosmic, it is personal. You are part of the universe's breath, sharing in its widening, its unfolding, the stars above. You shimmer faintly, their light already stretched by expansion, already redshifted on its journey through growing space. What you see is not only light, but a story of distance, of time, of the fabric between you and them becoming longer, wider, greater. You breathe once more, slowly, deeply. You feel your body rise and fall. You sense the parallel, the inhale of your chest, the inhale of the cosmos. Both are movements of life. Both are signs of a story still being written. And yet, as comforting as this breath is, you begin to sense its consequence. For expansion, though quiet, carries with it a promise of endings. Galaxies moving apart, stars drifting beyond sight, energy spreading thinner and thinner. The inhale is endless, but what is left after breath stretches too far? You let that question settle, softly, like a feather on still air. The universe is inhaling. You are part of that inhale. And somewhere within it lies the story of what happens. When energy spreads, when warmth disperses, when the cosmos grows so vast that silence is all that remains. Energy keeps stars burning and life alive. But energy spreads, thins, and fades with time. This chapter unfolds the slow cooling of the cosmos, where warmth becomes rare, and silence spreads across the galaxies. You are warm now. Your body hums. With heat, a gentle fire inside you that never stops. Every breath, every beat of your heart is powered by energy moving through you. You may not think of it, but without warmth, life cannot be. The universe itself once blazed with unimaginable heat. It began as fire-pure energy, pure brightness. In its first seconds, the cosmos was hotter than the core of 1,000 suns. Combined, everything was packed tightly, like sparks pressed into a single point, and then, in its great release, it began to expand. As it expanded, it cooled. Cooling is not the absence of fire, but the spreading of it. Imagine taking a glowing ember and spreading its warmth through an endless field. The ember still glows, but the more it spreads, the softer it becomes, until its glow is faint, almost invisible. This is the story of energy in the universe. Energy is never destroyed. It only changes, flowing from one form to another, from blazing stars to drifting dust, from beating hearts to empty air. But energy also has a quiet secret. It spreads out. It does not stay gathered forever. It seeks balance, like water poured onto a stone floor, seeping evenly into every crack. This tendency has a name: entropy. Entropy is the whisper that warmth always moves toward cold, that heat does not gather. On its own, that fire, left alone, burns out. It is not cruel, only patient. It waits, always moving things toward stillness. You know this in your daily life. A hot cup of tea left on a table cools until it is no warmer than the room. A patch of sunlight fades into the night. Your body, too, gives its heat to the air, and the air gives it to the larger sky, until balance is reached. So it is with the universe. Stars blaze fiercely, but even they are bound to share their warmth with the dark. A star shines because it burns fuel hydrogen pressed into helium, a furnace of light. But this fuel is finite. It cannot last forever. When the fuel is gone, the star cools. Some stars swell into red giants before collapsing. Others explode into supernova, leaving behind dense remnants like white dwarfs or black holes. Each ending is different, but in every case, the warmth once released is lost to the wider universe, spread thinner and thinner until it is only a faint trace in the void. The silence of space hides this truth. Between the stars, you might think, there is nothing, but there is something, a bath of faint, ancient warmth, the leftover glow from the birth of everything. This glow is called the cosmic microwave background. It is the afterglow of the Big Bang, once a blazing fire that filled the whole sky, now stretched and cooled until it is only a dim whisper of heat. Its temperature today is just above absolute zero, a mere 2.7 degrees above the coldest temperature possible. It is a soft blanket spread across the cosmos, reminding us of the fire that once was. You cannot feel this faint heat on your skin. It is too weak, too thin, but it is everywhere, a memory the universe carries quietly. Now imagine the future, stretched billions and billions of years ahead. The stars that shine tonight will have gone out. The galaxies will have dimmed. All their fires will have faded into dust and ash, into cooling remnants drifting endlessly. The warmth will still be there, but spread so thin it will no longer gather into new stars, no longer spark into light. It will dissolve into balance, until everywhere is the same dot. This is sometimes called the heat death of the universe. It is a strange phrase, for it means not fire, but silence. It means a cosmos where all energy has spread so evenly that no work can be done. No new light can be born. Think of it like this. If you stretch out on a bed with sheets of perfect evenness, there are no folds, no edges, nothing left to shift. The sheet is at rest, silent, still, unmoving. So too, the universe will one day be not destroyed, but balanced into a stillness too deep to change. This vision can seem heavy, but there is a strange peace in it, for it tells us that all warmth is shared, that nothing is truly lost. The heat in your body now, the warmth of your breath, the fire in the stars above, all of it is part of one long flow, one river of energy slowly finding its way to the same quiet sea dot as you breathe. You are part of this spreading, this gentle movement toward balance. Every exhale you give is warmth shared with the world, and every inhale is a gift of air that has carried the breath of trees, the warmth of sunlight, the memory of ancient stars. You might wonder if the universe is cooling, if everything is thinning. Why does life still blaze here now? The answer lies in imbalance. Life thrives in the in-between, where warmth and cold meet. The earth orbits the sun, bathed in light on one side, bathed in night on the other. This difference, this flow of energy, creates the patterns of wind, the cycles of water, the growth of forests and bodies. It is the imbalance that sustains you. Without the flow, there is only stillness. And in stillness, life cannot dance. So as you rest tonight, you live in a rare moment of fire. The stars still burn, the earth still spins, the air still carries warmth into your lungs. It will not last forever, but tonight it is yours. Consider how precious warmth becomes in the deep cold. Think of explorers in icy places, how they huddle, close to share body heat. The universe itself is such a place, an endless cold with rare burning fires. Every flame is precious. Every star is a hearth in the darkness. And here you are, a small hearth yourself, carrying the heat of life in your chest. Your body is like a star in miniature, transforming food into energy, holding a tiny sun inside. You are proof that warmth is not gone, that even in a cooling universe, fire still finds places to burn. As you drift further into thought, imagine what it means for warmth to vanish. Without heat, there is no motion. Without motion, no change. It is a silence so deep it is beyond sound, a stillness so vast it is beyond time. But before that silence comes, there is much still to burn, many stars yet to shine, many lives yet to kindle. The cooling may be the ultimate story, but it is not the whole story. The universe is not finished breathing, not finished glowing. You too are not finished glowing. Every thought you hold tonight is a flicker of warmth in the great dark. Your mind burns softly. Each spark of memory is a small star in its own right. And as you rest, you may carry with you the knowledge that silence is not frightening. It is simply the other side of warmth. It is the balance all things reach. Even stars cannot resist it. Yet in this balance, there is beauty. The great story of the cosmos is written in heat and in cold, in burning and in fading, in songs of fire and songs of silence. You lie within that story now, between warmth and cooling, between flame and stillness. The silence waits, but so does the fire, and together they write the rhythm of everything. And as you drift deeper into rest, you may begin to wonder if silence spreads across the galaxies, if all warmth fades, what happens to the structures, the shapes, the very fabric of what holds the stars in place? Every star has a lifetime. Some fade gently, others explode in brilliance. You travel through their endings, learning how collapse, supernova, and black holes are not just deaths but rebirths, scattering the ingredients for new worlds. You lie, back again beneath the same sky, but now you look with a different kind of vision. You no longer see the stars as points of light fixed in eternity. Instead, you begin to sense their lives, their struggles, their endings. Just as you breathe, in and out, just as your own body has a beginning and will one day have an end, so too do the stars above you. Their light, steady and serene, carries with it the quiet truth of mortality. A star is not eternal. It is born, it shines, and it dies. Yet in its dying state, something miraculous happens. Unlike many things in your world where death feels like an ending, a star's death is also a gift, a scattering of seeds into the darkness. These seeds will one day form new stars, new planets, and perhaps even life itself. Imagine this. You hold a star in your mind, not the tiny pinprick you see in the sky, but the full, glowing sphere. The sun itself, if placed before you, would be overwhelming. A ball of gas more than 100 times wider than Earth, burning with nuclear fire. And yet, even this immense power will not last forever. Stars are fueled by hydrogen, the simplest of elements. Within their cores, hydrogen fuses into helium, releasing light and warmth. This is the quiet beating heart of a star. But as time flows on, the hydrogen begins to run out, much as a candle eventually consumes its wax. What happens next depends on the star's size, just as the destiny of a tree depends on the soil where it grows. Small stars, not much bigger than your sun, die quietly. Their light flickers and softens as they swell into red giants, enormous and delicate, like lanterns, ready to extinguish. For billions of years, they burn calmly, but when their fuel runs low, they expand, shedding their outer layers into space. What remains is a white dwarf, a small, hot ember glowing faintly in the dark. Over unthinkable spans of time, that ember cools, eventually fading into silence. These deaths are quiet, like a gentle sigh, but not all stars are so reserved. Larger stars live shorter, fiercer lives. The more massive the star, the more violently it consumes its fuel, as though burning with impatience. When such a star nears its end, it cannot release its energy gently. Instead, it collapses inward, and in the collapse, it detonates outward. This is the supernova, A cosmic explosion so bright that, for a brief moment, it can outshine entire galaxies. If you were to watch a supernova, it would be like seeing a star cry out with its last breath, releasing all it has left in a blaze of brilliance. And in that brilliance, the universe receives its treasures. For the heavy elements that form your body, the iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the oxygen you breathe, all were forged in such fires. You are, quite literally, the dust of stars. The death of a star gave birth to you. There is a profound gentleness in this truth. What seems like destruction is actually creation in another form. A forest fire burns, but in its ashes, new life sprouts. A star collapses, but in its explosion, it scatters seeds of matter across the galaxy. Those seeds drift, gathering in clouds of gas and dust. Over time, they clump together under gravity's quiet pull, forming new stars, new planets, and perhaps new minds to gaze upward as you are gazing now. But the story of stellar death is not finished with supernova. Sometimes, the collapse of a star is so great that nothing can stop it. Gravity, relentless and unforgiving, pulls everything inward. The core of the star shrinks into a space so dense, so compressed, that even light cannot escape. This is the birth of a black hole, a region of space where the rules you know no longer apply. A black hole is not an object in the way a planet or a star is. It is more like a trap in the fabric of reality, a place where space folds in on itself. If you drift too close, there is no return. Time itself seems to behave differently, slowing to a halt at the edge of the black hole, known as the event horizon. To you, watching from afar, it looks as though anything falling in freezes in time. To the one falling, however, the journey continues inward. Into mystery. It might seem that a black hole is an ending without a gift, a place where matter and energy vanish into silence. And yet, even here, creation continues in surprising ways. Black holes can collide, releasing waves that ripple through the fabric of spacetime, gravitational waves like soft echoes across the universe. These waves are so faint that they pass unnoticed through your body right now. Yet scientists have learned to listen to them, detecting the whispers of collisions billions of light years away. And more still, around black holes, matter swirls in glowing disks, heating as it spirals. Inward, in this chaos, light bursts forth in powerful jets that streak across galaxies. So even in their darkness, black holes shape the universe, stirring and scattering energy across unimaginable distances. As you drift in thought, you notice how the cycle of stars mirrors your own existence. You, too, burn with energy, a finite fire. You, too, carry within you the elements born from ancient stars. One day, you will return these elements to the earth, to be reshaped, reused, reborn. The universe is not wasteful. It recycles endlessly, turning endings into beginnings. It is humbling to realize that the atoms in your heart once burned in the core of a star. Perhaps that star lived billions of years ago in a galaxy far beyond sight. Its death sent out the dust that would one day become you. And someday, the matter that makes you will scatter again, joining the endless circulation of cosmic seeds. The next time you breathe, pause for a moment. The oxygen that fills your lungs, the very air that sustains you, was once forged in the nuclear fires of a star's collapse. Each breath connects you to that ancient death, that ancient gift. And so, lying beneath the night sky, you do not just see stars. You see stories. You see ancestors. You see the promise of rebirth, even in endings. But questions remain. What happens to the universe when enough stars have died? Will their rebirth continue forever? Or is there a final silence awaiting when no more stars will form? The thought lingers like the afterglow of a fading ember. Stars end, but in their endings, they sow the seeds of tomorrow. And tomorrow itself may carry its own mysteries, whispers of fate written not in stars, but in the quiet darkness between them. You drift toward the edge of a black hole, where time slows and light cannot escape. These cosmic keepers guard the secrets of energy and matter. They bend the fabric of reality, whispering riddles about endings and beginnings. You travel close, not to fall, but to wonder what remains when even black holes fade. You float gently through the silence of space. Around you, stars burn, galaxies swirl, and nebulae blossom like flowers of light. Yet your attention is drawn to a darker place, a place where the very brilliance of the stars seems to bend away. It is not absence, not emptiness, but something else, a presence that hides by swallowing all that dares to near it. You find yourself approaching a black hole, one of the most mysterious creations of the universe. A black hole is not a thing you can touch. It has no surface, no ground, no skin. It is more like an invisible wound in the fabric of space, carved by the collapse of a star so heavy that nothing, not even light itself, can climb free from its gravity. It is a keeper of forgotten light, a guardian of secrets. You drift closer. In thought, imagine the star that once lived here. Perhaps it was massive, burning brightly, consuming its fuel with urgency. When its time came, its core collapsed inward, falling endlessly, squeezing matter into a density beyond comprehension. The collapse was unstoppable, the gravity too strong. What was left behind was this, a singularity, a point of infinite density. Wrapped in darkness, cloaked by an invisible boundary we call the event horizon. The event horizon is the edge of return. Cross it, and nothing comes back. Even time itself behaves strangely here. To you, watching from afar, anything falling toward the horizon appears to slow, frozen in place, never quite crossing the edge. But for the traveler falling in, time continues carrying them inward, deeper and deeper, until no light, no message, no whisper can escape to tell what lies beyond. And so the black hole guards its mystery. It does not allow you to see within. It does not reveal what happens to the matter that crosses its border. Does it vanish? Does it transform? Does it persist, locked away in silence? These questions stir gently in your mind, like ripples on still water. You hover at a safe distance, close enough to sense the strange effects, far enough to remain unpulled. Space around the black hole bends, warps, curves in ways your eyes can almost feel. Stars behind it appear distorted, their light stretched and curved into arcs of brilliance. This is gravitational lensing, the bending of light by gravity itself. The black hole acts like a lens, magnifying the distant universe, though it reveals nothing of itself. You notice how beautiful it is, this paradox. A thing defined by what it hides, yet surrounded by a halo of light, created by the very matter it consumes. Gas and dust caught in its pull swirl into a glowing disk, heating as they spiral inward. The disk blazes brighter than a million suns, radiating energy even as it falls toward silence. From the poles of some black holes, powerful jets stream outward, beams of light and particles stretching for thousands of light years. As though the black hole cannot help but create even while it destroys. It is a reminder that even darkness has radiance. Even endings give birth to unexpected beginnings. You close your eyes in thought. What would it feel like to drift near the horizon? Time itself would stretch. If you lowered a clock toward the edge, you would see its hands move slower and slower, as though reluctant to continue. For you outside, eternity would pass while the clock barely ticked. Yet for the clock itself, time would feel normal. This is relativity made real. Time is not universal, but shaped by gravity, shaped by the depth of the cosmic. While you stand within. In this realization, you sense the humility of being human. Time, which feels so solid, so certain, is not the same everywhere. The minutes you count on Earth are not the same as the minutes counted near a black hole. The universe has no single rhythm. It has a symphony of tempos, all playing together. You drift further in imagination. Suppose you cross the horizon. You cannot see what lies ahead, but you can wonder. At the center lies the singularity, where the laws of physics as you know them seem to collapse. Equations break. Understanding falters. This is not simply because you lack knowledge. It is because space and time themselves cease to behave in ways your mind can grasp. The singularity is not a place, but a question, an unfinished sentence written into the heart of reality. And yet, even here, there are whispers of answers. Some scientists suggest that the information of what falls in may not vanish, but may be stored on the horizon itself, like patterns on a surface. Others dream of wormholes, passages that link black holes to other regions of the cosmos. Could they be doors, bridges, gateways to elsewhere? Or are they merely traps, closed worlds where matter is crushed into silence? You realize that part of the beauty lies in not knowing. The black hole is both frightening and serene because it keeps its mystery. It is not chaos, but order of another kind, a kind hidden from your eyes. Still, black holes are not eternal. Even they must one day fade. In the quiet work of Stephen Hawking's mind, a truth was revealed. Black holes leak. At their horizons, tiny fluctuations in the vacuum of space allow them to emit faint radiation, now called Hawking radiation. Over incomprehensible spans of time, this radiation steals energy from the black hole, shrinking it until at last it vanishes. What happens? In that final moment, a flash of light? A sigh into nothing? You cannot yet know. This thought humbles you further. Nothing lasts forever. Not stars, not black holes, not even the universe as you see it now. All things pass, but in their passing, they give rise to others. Black holes, too, are keepers only. For a time, their secrets may one day be returned to the cosmos. And so you rest in this paradox, light that cannot escape, yet information that perhaps endures. Gravity so strong it bends time itself, yet destiny that ends in dissolution. A black hole is not a monster, but a teacher, showing you that the universe is larger than certainty, vaster than comprehension. You open your mind to the poetry of it. The stars die, leaving black holes. Black holes live and fade. Their radiation returns to space, faint and patient. Even the keepers of forgotten light cannot keep their treasure forever. And you, a traveler of thought, are left with awe. The black hole is not a place to fear, but a reminder of the humility of existence. It shows that even the strongest must release. Even the most secretive must one day let go. As you drift away, the black hole remains behind you, silent, unblinking, wrapped in mystery. Its presence lingers in your thoughts, like a riddle whispered in the dark. You feel both small and vast, both fragile and infinite. Because if even black holes fade, what then of the universe itself? Does everything one day dissolve into silence? Or does the fading of black holes open a door to something even greater, a deeper chapter not yet imagined? The thought stretches before you like a horizon of its own, waiting, unresolved, timeless. The universe cools as its fires burn out. Galaxies dim, stars vanish, and silence spreads across infinite space. Energy thins until no warmth, no motion, no spark remains. Here, in this quiet end, you drift into the stillness of forever. You close your eyes and breathe deeply, as if mirroring the slow rhythm of the universe itself. With every breath, you sense the great unfolding of time, a story stretching across unimaginable ages. Tonight, you drift into one of the universe's final chapters, A future where all motion slows, all warmth thins, and silence spreads wider than thought can reach. This is the story of the great fade, the cooling of everything, the whisper. Of the cosmos' last exhale. In the beginning, the universe was alive with fire. The newborn cosmos blazed, galaxies formed, stars kindled, and planets took shape from stardust. Everywhere you looked, energy moved flowing, transforming, radiating outward. But energy, like water poured into a desert, spreads and thins with time. It cannot be destroyed, yet it drifts toward balance, dispersing into wider and wider spaces, until nothing remains to fuel the dance of stars. This truth is written into the heart of physics. It is the second law of thermodynamics, the law that guides the arrow of time. Entropy, the quiet pull toward disorder, ensures that heat will always flow from what is hot to what is cold until no contrast remains. A star glows because its heart is hot compared to the vacuum around it. Life breathes because it can draw energy from food, from sunlight, from chemical fuels. But what happens when every difference fades? What happens when hot and cold become the same? The answer is the universe's most haunting possibility. Heat death. You picture it now, not as a sudden event, but as a long, slow unraveling. Galaxies continue to drift apart, their stars slowly burning their fuel. Billions of years pass, and the bright tapestry of the night sky begins to thin. One by one, stars exhaust themselves, fading into white dwarfs, neutron stars, or collapsing into black holes. At first, remnants remain quiet embers, glowing faintly in the dark. But even the embers cool. Even the densest remnants radiate their last warmth into space. Imagine looking up at a sky billions of trillions of years from now. The constellations, are gone. No bright Orion, no sweeping band of the Milky Way, no glow of neighboring galaxies. Instead, the heavens are mostly black. A rare flicker might remain, a dying red dwarf star lingering in its final stages, but even those faint lanterns eventually extinguish. The sky becomes a canvas of nothingness, painted in silence. At this stage, black holes dominate. They are the last great engines of cosmic transformation, swallowing stars, dust, and even stray photons that wander too close. But even black holes do not last forever. They evaporate through a process called Hawking radiation, leaking away their mass over unimaginable timescales. The larger the black hole, the longer it takes, but the law is unyielding. Eventually, even these cosmic titans dissolve into nothing but whispers of radiation, scattered too thin to warm anything at all. You feel the weight of that image, a universe without stars, without heat, without even black holes. What remains is expansion, space itself stretching thinner and colder with each breath of eternity. Every particle of matter drifts farther from every other particle, until the distances are so great that interaction becomes impossible. A lonely proton may exist, but it will exist alone, separated from its neighbors by gulfs of space so vast that light itself cannot bridge them in any meaningful time. This vision is not violent. There is no grand explosion at the end, no fiery collapse, no sudden halt. Instead, the end is quiet, like a song fading into silence, its final notes stretched so thin you cannot hear where the music stops. Heat death is a story of stillness, of energy spread so evenly that nothing moves, nothing changes, nothing can spark new beginnings. You linger on this thought. In such a universe, time itself loses its meaning. Time is marked by change, by the rising of the sun, the shifting of galaxies, the burning of stars. Without change, what is left to measure? In endless stillness, every moment is indistinguishable from the one before. The arrow of time points forward, but with no events to mark the journey, it becomes impossible to know if you have moved it. As you drift deeper into this vision, you find yourself strangely comforted. There is a serenity in imagining such stillness, a peace in knowing that the universe does not rage endlessly, but instead comes to rest. Like a tired traveler, it lays itself down in silence, its energy balanced, its fires extinguished. In the end, everything rests. You think of the warmth around you now, your own body glowing with energy, the air humming softly with life, the earth alive with motion. Compared to the cosmic stillness of the far future, this moment feels precious. You are part of the brief flicker, when the universe is vibrant, when stars shine and galaxies swirl. To witness such a time is to stand in the middle of the cosmos' most luminous chapter. But still, your mind drifts back to the distant end. What does it mean, this final stillness? Some scientists suggest that even in the quiet of heat death, quantum fluctuations may stir. Tiny, random ripples in the vacuum might, given enough time, spark new events particles flickering into existence. Perhaps even entire new universes budding from the silence. Others imagine that the story ends truly with nothingness, a final breath that never begins again. You cannot know. No one can. The timescales are beyond comprehension, numbers so vast that they stretch meaning itself. 1 trillion years is only a heartbeat compared to the eternity needed for the universe to fade completely. To imagine it is to stretch your mind across horizons too wide to hold. And yet, as you rest here, you can feel it. The pull of inevitability, the quiet rhythm of entropy, the certainty that every flame, no matter how bright, eventually burns out. Perhaps the universe's final gift is perspective. Knowing that all things fade makes the present moment luminous. The warmth of your breath, the quiet of your room, the thought of stars still burning in the night sky. These are miracles of contrast, sparks against the vast ocean of darkness that waits. To exist now in this fleeting glow is to witness the universe at its most alive. You breathe slowly, imagining yourself floating in that far future. There is no earth, no sun, no galaxies to anchor your gaze, only endless nights. Yet within that night, you find calm. It is the calm of completion, the calm of an orchestra's last note, ringing into stillness. You drift, weightless, into the quiet, and the silence embraces you. The great fade is not frightening. It is simply the universe's way of resting. And in that rest, there is beauty. But as you let this image settle, a question stirs gently at the edges of your mind. If the universe cools into endless stillness, is that truly the end? Or does the story curve into something else, something unexpected, hidden beyond the silence, waiting to be discovered in the spaces between nothing and everything? What if endings are not truly ends? The universe may not fade forever, but fold back into itself. Galaxies might rush inward, time reversing into a final embrace. You follow this dream of collapse, wondering if silence is only the pause before another beginning. You close your eyes and let the thought of collapse drift into your mind. Until now, the story of the universe has felt like a widening breath, each star and galaxy carried farther into the quiet dark, stretched by invisible hands. But there is another story, a different dream. Instead of expansion forever, the universe could one day fall inward, returning to where it began. This possibility carries a certain symmetry, a rhythm that echoes through both science and imagination. Beginnings and endings, woven together like tides. You imagine it as a sigh. Just as lungs inhale, they also release. Just as oceans swell, they also recede. Perhaps the universe follows the same pattern. Expansion may not go on without end. Instead, gravity, the old sculptor of the cosmos, may gather strength once more, pulling galaxies back toward one another. If that happens, what you see as eternal outward motion might be only half the cycle, a temporary arc before the long fall inward. Scientists call this vision the Big Crunch. It is not the most likely scenario, but it is one worth tracing. Slowly, because it reveals how fragile, how balanced the universe truly is. Imagine holding a ball at the peak of a hill. If it tips even slightly one way, it will roll down forever. If it tips the other, it will roll back toward the valley. The universe stands at a similar precipice. The amount of matter, the pull of gravity, and the push of expansion are all woven together in a delicate dance. Whether the cosmos drifts endlessly outward, stills into heat death, or collapses inward depends on the tiniest of balances. You picture galaxies as dancers at the edge of a great stage. For billions of years, they have spun away from one another, their music echoing faintly across the void. But in the dream of the Big Crunch, the music changes. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the outward motion slows. Galaxies, once carried apart by expansion, begin to hesitate. It is as though the universe itself takes a pause, holding its breath, before beginning the return journey home. The thought is strangely comforting. If heat death feels like silence stretching on forever, the Big Crunch feels like closure, like the drawing of a curtain after the last note of a song. It suggests that nothing is wasted, that even the furthest stars may one day be gathered back together, united again in the cosmic center. Perhaps, you think, this gathering would be like a great reunion, a homecoming written into the fabric of space. As you drift deeper into this vision, you try to imagine the stages of such a collapse. First would come the slowing. Galaxies that once fled apart at great speed would feel the tug of gravity like a faint reminder. Over billions of years, they would turn, their outward rush softening until it gave way to a gentle fall inward. Space itself would begin to shrink, carrying everything with it. What happens next is both beautiful and terrifying to picture. Stars and galaxies, once separated by unimaginable distances, would draw closer. The night sky would thicken. From any vantage point, the heavens would look brighter, more crowded, as galaxies approached one another. Instead of fading into loneliness, the universe would grow dense again, filled with the glow of countless suns packed together in shrinking space. And yet, this brightness would not last. As galaxies collide, stars burn faster, consuming their fuel more quickly. The universe would blaze for a while with furious energy, a last flowering of light. Then, one by one, the stars would burn out. Black holes would multiply, swallowing what remains. The sky would darken once more, this time not because of distance, but because of exhaustion. And still the collapse would continue, pulling everything closer to everything else. You feel the weight of it as you imagine further. Space itself shrinks, time itself quickens. The background radiation, the faint whisper of the Big Bang still humming today, would grow hotter as the universe compacts. Temperatures would climb, climbing back toward the unimaginable heat of the early universe. All the structures you know, galaxies, stars, planets, would dissolve, crushed back into a single searing state. In the final moment, there would be no galaxies, no stars, no atoms. Only energy, compressed into a point so small it defies understanding. It would be as if the universe rewinds itself, erasing the long history of expansion and scattering, bringing everything home to where it began. And here the dream takes its most mysterious turn. What happens at the end of a big crunch? Does the universe stop, a flame snuffed out? Or does it rebound, exploding outward once more, birthing a new cosmos in a new Big Bang? Could time itself be cyclical, repeating in endless rhythms of expansion and collapse? If so, the universe you inhabit now may not be the first nor the last. It could be one chapter in an infinite story, each cycle carrying echoes of the one before. This idea is sometimes called the oscillating universe. Like a heartbeat, the cosmos may expand, collapse, and begin again, endlessly breathing in and out. To you, drifting on the edge of sleep, this vision feels deeply human. It mirrors the cycles you know so well: day and night, birth and death, inhale and exhale. Perhaps the universe, too, is alive in its own way, pulsing with rhythms too vast for you to see clearly. You pause in thought. If the universe collapses and begins again, what happens to memory? Would the next universe carry traces of this one? Or would everything be wiped away, leaving only a blank canvas for new galaxies? New stars, new minds to emerge? It is a question science cannot answer, but imagination lingers on it. Like fingers brushing the edges of a dream, there is a quiet comfort in cycles. They remind you that even endings are beginnings in disguise. The Big Crunch, though frightening, in its scale, offers a kind of closure absent in the endless stillness of heat death. It says, nothing is truly lost. Every atom, every particle, every photon of light will be gathered back into the whole. What was scattered will be made whole again. And perhaps, from that wholeness, something entirely new will rise. You drift further into this vision, allowing the collapse to unfold in your mind as if you are watching from within. At first, galaxies merge like slow-motion rivers joining, streams of stars folding into one another. The sky glows richer, fuller. Then, as time accelerates, everything grows hotter, brighter, denser. The world you know dissolves, yet you are not afraid. Instead, you feel a strange intimacy, as though the universe itself is wrapping you in its final embrace, holding you close before the next dawn. The dream of the Big Crunch may not be the destiny of the cosmos. Observations today suggest the universe is not slowing, but accelerating in its expansion, driven by the mystery of dark energy. If this acceleration continues, collapse may never come. And yet, the very possibility of the crunch lingers in thought, a reminder of how finely balanced everything is. The universe walks a tightrope between endless expansion and ultimate collapse, between silence and rebirth. As you reflect, you feel the softness of possibility. Science offers many visions of the end heat death, the Big Crunch even stranger. Fates yet imagined. None are certain. All are glimpses into the mystery of what lies ahead. In this uncertainty, there is room for wonder. You do not need an answer tonight. It is enough to imagine, to let your mind wander through the possibilities, feeling the rhythm of cosmic cycles echoing quietly in your own breath. You inhale slowly, expansion. You exhale softly, collapse. And in this rhythm, you hear the heartbeat of the cosmos. The Big Crunch is a dream, perhaps only a dream. Yet it is a dream that whispers of continuity. Even in endings, there is the possibility of beginnings. Even in silence, there is the memory of song. You rest in that thought, carried gently by the possibility that nothing is ever truly gone, that all things return, in time, to the source. And as you linger on this vision, another question arises. If the universe itself can collapse and begin again, what does that say about time? Expansion is not always gentle. There is a vision of the cosmos where growth accelerates without end. Galaxies drift so far apart, they can never meet again. Stars, worlds, and even the bonds of atoms fall apart into nothingness. Here, you float, in the quiet possibility of the Big Rip, where time itself frays into silence. You close your eyes and breathe slowly. The universe breathes with you. For so long, it has expanded, a steady rhythm set in motion since the first spark of the Big Bang. At first, that expansion was quick, almost violent, as if the cosmos were stretching from a clenched fist into an open palm. Over billions of years, it slowed, like a runner tiring after an infinite sprint. But then something mysterious happened. The universe's pace began to quicken again. It was as though an invisible hand pressed lightly against its fabric, urging galaxies farther and farther apart. That invisible hand has a name, dark energy. You cannot see it. You cannot hold it. Yet its presence is written in the way galaxies drift away, the way cosmic distances grow. It is subtle, but its influence is enormous, more powerful than gravity, more insistent than matter, more persuasive than light. You imagine yourself floating between galaxies, adrift in the vastness of space. You feel the tug of gravity, gentle but sure, pulling clusters of stars together like beads strung on an invisible thread. And then you sense another force, softer but steady, tugging in the opposite direction, pulling not together but apart. This is dark energy, and it is patient. It does not rush. It whispers, and with each whisper, the universe grows a little wider. Now imagine that whisper growing louder, stronger, unstoppable. Imagine a universe in which dark energy continues not only to expand space, but to accelerate its expansion. It does not let go. It pushes harder and harder, with no end. The galaxies do not simply drift away. They are carried apart faster than any light between them can cross. What once was a family of galaxies becomes a scattering of strangers, each one lost to the others, each one locked in its own private silence. This is the beginning of the big rip. The idea feels unsettling, yet also strangely calm. You picture the night sky, stars pinned across its canvas, steady and eternal to your eyes. But in the deep future, perhaps trillions of years from now, those stars vanish from view one by one, not because they go out, but because the universe stretches so quickly that their light can never reach you again. The night sky would grow emptier, darker, until only the faint glow of your own galaxy remains. And then even that slips away. The Milky Way, bound tightly by gravity, might hold itself together for a time. Stars orbit stars, planets circle suns, black holes spin at the core. Yet even gravity, the strongest glue within galaxies, is not invincible. In the Big Rip, acceleration does not stop at the boundaries of galaxies. It pries at their seams, loosens their bonds, and finally tears them apart. You imagine the sight: stars drifting from the spiral arms, pulled outward into a widening void. Nebulae, once delicate veils of gas, unravel thread by thread. Solar systems, proud of their planets, are stretched and undone. And then something more intimate occurs. Planets are not spared. Earth-like worlds that once circled their suns are dragged away. Moons slip from their orbits. Oceans spill into space, thin ribbons of water torn into vapor. Mountains crumble, not by erosion, but by the very expansion of the universe itself. You pause in your imagination, holding the image gently, not as fear but as wonder. The universe, in this vision, is not destroyed by fire or collision. It simply tears apart, piece by piece, as though its fabric were never meant to last forever. But the journey goes deeper still. Once galaxies and planets are undone, expansion does not rest. It continues its patient tearing until even stars, those burning hearts of hydrogen and helium, can no longer resist. Their nuclear furnaces sputter and fail as their outer layers are ripped away. The stars dissolve, scattering their light into a widening nothing. And if you lean further into this thought, you see the smallest things unravel. Atoms, which have bound together faithfully since the earliest moments of the cosmos, are stretched beyond endurance. Electrons are torn from protons. The fundamental particles themselves are pulled apart, as though the rules of existence no longer hold. The very fabric of matter frays. It is a strange kind of end. Not an explosion, not a collapse, but a dissolution into separation. Time, too, loses its rhythm. For time is measured by change, by motion, by cycles. In the Big Rip, cycles end. Clocks stop not because they break, but because there is nothing left to mark. The final seconds tick more slowly, stretched into infinity. Then silence. And yet, even here, there is a meditative peace. You are not witnessing violence, not chaos. Instead, it is a release, a letting go. The universe loosens every bond, every tether, until nothing remains tied to anything else. It is solitude on the grandest scale, a stillness so deep that even light cannot cross it. Why imagine such a fate? Perhaps because in this vision, you feel the fragility of connection. Everything you see, from galaxies to your own hands, holds. Together through bonds, balances, and quiet agreements. Gravity holds stars. Forces hold atoms. Trust and care hold people. And yet, like the universe itself, everything drifts, everything changes. Everything may one day let go. You breathe slowly again. Inhale, exhale. You feel the pull of the moment, the way it stretches like space itself. You are reminded that even in endings, there is beauty, not in permanence, but in impermanence. The Big Rip is not only a story of destruction, but a reminder of how precious connection is while it lasts. Scientists do not know if this fate will come. The future of the universe is still uncertain. The strength of dark energy is still a mystery. Its nature still beyond reach. It may remain constant forever, or it may shift and fade, or it may grow stronger and bring this great unraveling. In the vastness of time, possibility is wide. You let yourself rest in that possibility. You let it wash over you like a tide of thought. The universe may fade in silence, may collapse in a crunch, or may stretch into this endless tearing. Each vision is only a dream, a story written in numbers and stars. And yet, each story teaches you something about the fragility, the wonder, the temporariness of all things. Picture the very end of the Big Rip. There is no galaxy, no star, no atoms. Only particles scattered too far apart to meet. The canvas of space is stretched beyond recognition, so wide that nothing touches anything else. And there, in that infinite stillness, the universe rests, not as a place, but as a memory of all that once was bound. It is an image not of terror, but of release. The letting go of every bond, the surrender of every tie. It is the final exhale of the cosmos. And like an exhale, it is quiet, it is calm, it is complete. You are floating still, imagining this far future silence. You feel both the strangeness and the serenity of it. And as you drift in thought, you sense another question arising. If the universe can end in so many ways, in silence, in collapse, in separation, might there also be another path? Could endings themselves be beginnings in disguise? The end may be billions of years away, but the story is already unfolding. In the face of cosmic impermanence, you return to your body, your breath, and the present moment. Here, you discover peace in the fragile beauty of now. The universe's quiet answer is not despair, but presence. Each heartbeat becomes a star, each breath a universe. The question lingers, quiet but profound. Is the universe already ending? It drifts into your mind like a whisper carried by cosmic winds, not demanding fear, but asking for gentle reflection. The stars above you, though scattered and eternal in appearance, are already fading, already unraveling, already walking toward an ending written into their very being. Yet even in that truth, there is no panic, no rush. Instead, there is stillness and invitation to listen, to breathe, to be here. You begin this chapter not in the distant reaches of space, but in the fragile moment of your own breath. Inhale, exhale. Your lungs expand and soften, carrying with them echoes of stardust, whispers of ancient suns. The same atoms that fuel your life once belonged to the fiery hearts of stars, now long gone. And so, even as the cosmos moves toward its quiet unraveling, You carry within you a piece of its story, a thread in the great fabric of impermanence. Science tells us that the universe is expanding, galaxies drifting apart, carried outward on a tide powered by dark energy. One day, long beyond human lifetimes, beyond even the lifetime of stars, that expansion may stretch so wide that no new stars can form. The galaxies will dim, the night sky will empty, and the universe may grow cold and silent. This is called the heat death, a phrase that sounds harsh, but in truth, it is not fire or violence. It is a fading, slow and gentle cooling, like embers. Sinking into ash dot, as you picture this, let it not bring sadness, but clarity. The universe is not rushing toward its end. It is flowing there with patience, in rhythm so vast that even time itself seems to slow. Stars burn for billions of years. Black holes evaporate over incomprehensible stretches of eternity. Against such a canvas, your own life feels small, but it also feels precious, luminous in its brevity. Imagine a candle. Its flame flickers, dances, and eventually it will extinguish. Yet while it burns, its light fills the room. Its warmth touches your skin. The value of the candle is not diminished because it cannot last forever. In the same way, the beauty of the cosmos is not lessened by its impermanence. Its very fragility is what makes it so breathtaking. In the quiet of this moment, you let yourself drift into the thought of endings. Every ending is also a transformation. The stars that explode in supernova scatter the elements that form planets, oceans, trees, and bodies like yours. The death of one thing gives birth to another. Even the universe, if it reaches its heat death, is not ending in fire, but in quiet dispersal, a stillness where every particle becomes equal. Every light softens into the same background glow. It is a kind of cosmic exhale. And so you wonder, what does it mean to live in a universe already ending? Does it make each moment more urgent, more fleeting, more fragile? Or does it make each moment infinite? Because within the boundary of now, you hold all that has ever been and ever will be. You close your eyes and feel your heartbeat, slow, steady. Each beat is a reminder that you, too, are temporary. Yet in that truth is no fear, only gratitude. Your body is an echo of the stars, a small flicker in the vast cosmic night, and yet it is enough. Scientists study the possible fates of the universe, the big freeze, the big rip, the big crunch. They write equations, model galaxies, and trace the invisible fingerprints of dark energy. Each theory is a window into the future, but none can fully capture the mystery of existence. For you lying in stillness, the theories feel less like predictions and more like metaphors, like stories written in the language of numbers. Whether the universe grows cold, tears itself apart, or folds back into itself, the meaning is the same. Everything changes, everything transforms, and so you return to yourself, to your breath, your body, the smallness of your world compared to the cosmos. This is the quiet answer, that the universe's vast impermanence is mirrored in your own life, and instead of despair, it offers presence. If everything is ending, then everything is also precious. You begin to notice small details. The softness of your pillow, the way your breath brushes your lips, the faint hum of silence in the room. These are your stars, your galaxies, your cosmic wonders. They are no less miraculous than the great spirals of light hanging in the distant night. To live in awareness of them is to live in harmony with the truth of the universe. The poet Rainer Maria Rilke once wrote, "Let everything happen to you, beauty and terror. Just keep going. No feeling is final." In the face of cosmic impermanence, these words echo like starlight. No feeling is final. No star burns forever. No universe remains unchanged. And yet, here you are, in this moment, breathing alive. witnessing it all in the silence of the imagined future. Where galaxies no longer shine, you find not emptiness, but peace. Perhaps the universe, in its ending, is teaching you how to live. It is reminding you that the measure of existence is not its length, but its depth. Not how long it lasts, but how deeply it is felt. So you let yourself sink into the quiet rhythm of now. Inhale, exhale. The universe may be ending, but it is also beginning, always beginning, in every breath, every heartbeat, every moment of awareness. The story of the cosmos is vast, but the story of your presence is here. And in the fragile beauty of now, you hold a universe complete unto itself. And maybe, just maybe, that is enough. And so, we arrive at the edge of tonight's journey. The question of whether the universe is already ending may never have one single answer. But perhaps that is the beauty of it, that even in endings, there is mystery, possibility, and a kind of quiet grace. As you drift deeper into rest, remember, the stars continue to burn, galaxies continue to drift, and you, here and now, are part of this grand unfolding. The universe is vast and uncertain, but in this moment, your breath, your stillness, is certain and real. If this exploration brought you peace or sparked wonder in your heart, I invite you to share that feeling. Please like this video so more dreamers and seekers can discover it. Leave your thoughts in the comments. I always love reading how these journeys touch your nights. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing so you'll always have a gentle space to return to whenever you need calm and curiosity together. Thank you for allowing me to guide you through the cosmos tonight. May your dreams be filled with galaxies, your rest as deep as the silence between stars, and your heart as steady as the universe itself. Until next time, sleep well and keep wondering.